All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I want to welcome you all to the regularly scheduled council meeting of the governing body of Spring Hill, Kansas on Thursday, February 8th. If you guys would all like to stand with me, we have Pastor Joel Atwell here to give the invocation. And if he's not here, I'll go ahead and do it. Let's pray. Father God, thank you for bringing us here today, God. Thank you for all the passionate people that showed up, God, to speak for their community, God, and to give their opinions, God. Just help us to all do it in a civil manner, and just thank you and help us to make the best decisions for our community and Spring Hill and as a whole. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Mrs. Feeback? Here. Mr. Peel?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mr. Van Houten?
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Is there any questions or comments on the agenda? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Next item on the agenda is an executive session. I believe we need 15 minutes on
I
this.
think we're doing 10.
10 minutes?
Yep.
10 minutes.
I move the city council recess into executive session for 10 minutes to receive advice of council to discuss a new economic development project pursuant to the attorney-client privilege, exception KSA 75-4319B2 of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 7:13. No formal action is anticipated following the session. Person to be in attendance are City Administrator Lane Massey, City Attorney Spencer Lau, and Bond Counsel Tyler Ellsworth.
Second. Got a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. We will see. Welcome back, everybody. Let the record reflect that the governing body reconvened into open meeting at 7:13 PM. No votes were taken or decisions made during the executive session. The discussion was limited to the subject stated. With that, I entertain a motion to move into executive session number 2 for also 10 minutes, I believe.
I move the city council recess into executive session for 10 minutes to receive advice of council to discuss potential economic development pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at 7:25. No formal action is anticipated following the session. The person to be in attendance: Lane Massey, City Administrator; Spencer Lau, City Attorney; Patrick Burton, Community Development Director.
Second.
Got a motion second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We will see you guys shortly.
we'll call you guys. Yes. They'll do the presentation. Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let the record reflect that the governing body reconvened into open meeting at 7:25 PM. No votes were taken or decisions made during the executive session. The discussion was limited to the subject stated. With that, we are going to move on to citizen participation. This is time when the public, the people that signed up, can come up here and say what they would like to say. If you could just state your name and your address. I would also like to say, please keep it civil throughout the night tonight, guys. It got a little bit crazy a couple weeks ago, and we don't want to run into that again. If we do get to that point with someone, we will ask you to leave. I hope not to have to do that because I don't ever want to ask anybody to leave. But we do need to keep it civil. This is, after all, a business meeting. Just like if you guys were having a business meeting at your business, I wouldn't come there and create a ruckus and yell and scream from the back of the room. So we do give you guys time to say whatever you want to say. But we just ask that you guys be respectful. Once that citizen participation time is up, that you guys be respectful and quiet and allow us to conduct business. With that, we do have an overflow room here with some people in it. So what I'm going to do, kind of like a baseball game, I'm going to say the first name and then the person that's on deck. That way, if they're over in the other room, they have time to get back over here. So the first person we have on the list is Curtis Taylor, and then on deck is Ron Arts. Oh, and we are, sorry, one more thing. We are going to try to, because of the amount of people we have, we are going to try to limit it to 3 minutes of time. And I do ask that once that timer goes off, that you do try to wrap up speaking right then instead of, last time I was a little bit gracious and kind of let you guys carry on after the timer go off, but we really need to try to stick to that timer so we can get things done. Is that good,
Okay.
you guys?
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name's Kurt Taylor. I live at 18903 Longview Road, Spring Hill, Kansas. It's Dayton Creek Edition, been there 3 years, came from Overland Park. And a little bit about me. I spent the last more than half my life in distribution, transportation with Kroger and Garmin. Just retired, so I got a lot of experience in transportation. One thing, oh, by the way, thank you for all your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have a tough job. And I envy you know. So the thing about it, we taught our staff all those 40 years, presentation and, what did I get here? Presentation and appearance. That's one of the many things we wanted our employees, our management staff to do for our company. One of the things, I think pictures can speak 1,000 words. And you always say you practice what you preach, but still a picture speaks 1,000 words. I got some slides. I'm gonna go through them. We'll go through them pretty quickly. I got quite a few. I made a trip, 400-mile round trip from here to Emporia to Wichita to Hutchinson and back. Visit a bunch of truck stops. And so here's the pictures that I've taken of just not TAs, but other truck stops. Loves, Casey, some of this. Let's get rolling. Okay, this is in Overland Park. This is Olathe. This is the truck stop at 151st and I-35. This is my first slide. I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly. This is still part of that truck stop right there in Olathe. Okay, this is TA on east of Emporia. And you're gonna see, I'm gonna show you a few things as we go through here. This is, okay, this is going to Love's. These pictures are Love's. Can you see them okay? Okay. They're pretty well organized on their cleanliness. Still Love's. Leaving. Okay, this is Flying J. This is TA's on the east side of Emporia. This is their back lot. You can see all the trash just lined up all the way around the facility. Okay, that is their dog park. It's interlock paneling, fencing put around, there's nowhere for anybody to sit down, and there's trash just all the way around it. That's one of their facilities, when they call it their dog park. This is as I left, just the TA facility. Okay, that is not TA, I can't remember, but I took pictures of the signs coming in front. This is, as I left TA, you see if somebody changed their filters, they left them in there. Though this is going down, I took pictures coming back again to see if that stuff had been moved.
Sir, if you could wrap it up.
Okay,
We gotta get to the next person.
Oh, is my time? Boy,
Yes,
that was
sir.
quick. Okay, let's go, okay, real quick. This is TA, this is the backside of their lot. I walked back there, two guys back there, I don't know what they were doing, but I was gonna take their picture. I felt a little uncomfortable with them, so I did not take their picture.
Sir, we gotta move on to the next.
Okay, Ken, I want to show you one last picture. You got to see it. As I left their truck stop, this guy was sitting out front. Her name's Alice. I stopped and asked her if I could take her picture. And she said, yes, she's from Iowa, moving to Texas. She tried to get me to pick her up. I said, no. So again, I think you get what you see and you see what you get. And this is basically what your truck stop looked like. If this facility comes in, I'm afraid that's what it's going to look like. Thank you for your
sir.
time.
Next person is Mr. Ron Arts, and on deck is Rachel Jones.
Hi, my name is Ron Arts, 21139 West 186 Terrace. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I was here 2 weeks ago as well. After that, me and my wife printed a lot of flyers and went throughout the entire neighborhood, door to door, to make people aware and ask them how they feel about it. Well, as you might imagine, the majority of people were not too happy about it, and out of I think like 160 people that I talked to, 4 or 5 didn't really have an opinion about it or were okay with it, including our city administrator. Hi, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, so you occupy these seats to represent the citizens of Spring Hill. I think the citizens of Spring Hill are speaking loud and clearly. I'm hoping that you will make the right decision. That's all I had to say. Just keep it short and quick, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Rachel Jones, and then on deck, Gail Strahan.
Hello, Rachel Jones, 18912 Red Bed Lane. Good evening, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to speak during this meeting. It allows me to vocalize my thoughts with not only Spring Hill's governing body, but with all of the citizens that are here as well. When the Planning Commission approved the Spring Hill Travel Plaza site plan on the 4th of January, I was compelled to write an email to you all, which I did. I provided a lot of factual information about truck stops and their impact to both the local community and the environment. And I spent hours of my free time researching information to try to understand how exactly a large-scale truck stop would affect our community. Time spent that as a single-parent household was very precious to me. I expected my mayor and city council members to thoughtfully respond to my proposed questions, but instead I received one received response and a more detailed, "We will take all of this into consideration" email. Due to the fact that we're not allowed to have this back and forth during these meetings, it was my expectation that you all would reach out, communicate to me. I was very disappointed, so I sent a subsequent email asking for feedback. To kudos to him, Mr. Van Houten was the only one that reached out to speak to me about my concerns. We had a healthy discussion. I much appreciate that. Thank you. So I just wanted on record that I am opposed to the Spring Hill Travel Plaza, and I have some areas of concern. So the increased truck traffic is probably, as you all are well aware, a concern of most of us. So I spoke with KDOT, and I know that they have received a copy of the Kimley Horn traffic study from the 23rd of January that the developer initiated. I also know that they're not required to perform a separate study, and they can work with the consultant on any issues that need to be addressed, but that they're not obliged to agree with those findings. So during the last meeting, when they spoke about the traffic light being put in, when I spoke with KDOT, verbatim from KDOT, they said, KDOT has advised both Spring Hill and developers when asked that an interchange is preferred over at-grade solutions as this is the safest option and allows for maximum mobility. Adding stopped traffic via signalization introduces additional safety concerns. That is alarming to me, that we think this is all going to be fixed with a stoplight, because it's not. And this is KDOT. We should take that into consideration. Also, I feel like there's a lot of detrimental health effects that are potential for our community. You all received my facts around that, including death and monetized health damages. A lot of cities that have a big truck population, they have limitations on idling for diesel engines. When I looked into that, I wasn't really able to find a lot for Kansas or Spring Hill, even in particular. I did locate a 2010 idling reduction rule for Johnson and Wyandotte counties. So I just wanted to know if anyone has reviewed that, and if so, have you considered how you're gonna enforce that? I don't think our current police force is large enough at this time to, make sure those rules are followed. I can't get through everything else, but please be rest assured I will email the rest of my concerns to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Gail Strahan, and then on deck, Jen Pennington.
Eric has to hook this up.
Technical support.
Yeah. My name's Gail Strand, 21470 West 181st Terrace. Okay. First of all, I'm going to say that I am a truck driver. I know you know that from last week. Truck stops are not meant to be where you're wanting to put it. So the developer, this is ridiculous that you're even trying to put it here. They are on, and all truck stops have on and off ramps for the flow of traffic. You guys know that. I don't even know why we're discussing it. So let's just go further. Can you scan these? The other thing is, as a truck driver, I have to take a test on human trafficking. We have schools. You already know that. I'm not going to go into it. With the schools across the street within a 3-mile radius, it's insane that you're even wanting this too. I just want you to look at these pictures, because this right here, that is a homeless camp. That is behind the Loves in Emporia, Kansas, okay? I had to skip over the river to get pictures for you. So when you get to that homeless camp, you actually have to walk about 1/8 of a mile. Well, where you want to put this TA is going to be disastrous, because it's on the corner of 183rd, and right across the street is a tree farm, which Burrells own, and they have forever. So where in the hell do you think these people are going to go? They can get a bath at the TA, they can live in the tree farm, and then you're going to have human trafficking, and you're going to have, quote, #lot lizards. That's what happens when you have this. And this gentleman here, that is the same lady, because I have to fuel up. You know where that's at? That's on Homestead. Homestead is in Edgerton, Kansas. These pictures right here, those are on Homestead. So if you want that in your backyard, and I believe most of you have kids or grandkids, well then, hey, let this developer put lipstick on a pig, because that's what you're getting. And over here, look, there's bottles. It's not Mountain Dew, buddy. It's urine. They defecate, and I'd also like to know, hey, developer, you're gonna have a dog park? Who's gonna clean up the dog shit? Because if you have truck drivers that are letting their dogs defecate behind trucks, and they defecate behind trucks, who do you think's gonna clean up a dog park? It's ridiculous. You wanna say it's a plaza, a travel plaza? It's not a travel plaza, it's a truck stop. So seriously, I'm not even going to waste any more of your time, because I'm sure your lawyers and everybody already has what they want to do here, but you're going to wreck Spring Hill. You're going to make it look like shit. And I'm just going to leave it there. And all of you guys have the vote, and I wish Wendy North was here, because I think she kind of sided in the right way and maybe switched a little bit of minds for the ones of you who probably weren't paid off. But please, make the right decisions for this community, make the right decision for the kids, and don't allow this to happen, because human trafficking is real. It is. And there you go. I'm done.
Thank you. Next, we have Jen Pennington, and then Eric Green is on deck.
Hello, I'm Jen Pennington. I'm at 21345 West 181st Street. I'm going to try to talk as quickly as possible to get it all out. I am actually a detective in another city, and of course, I just got called out. So I told them I'll call in 3 minutes. I'm also very involved in the community. I'm on the leadership team of the Johnson County Coalition for Suicide Prevention, which serves Spring Hill and the Olathe residents. I'm the vice president at Dayton Creek Elementary's PTO. I'm a room mom for my son. I'm in law enforcement. My husband grew up in this community. I have a lot of stake here and I love Spring Hill. I have several questions and concerns. I'm going to try to get through them quickly and let you guys know that I am opposed, especially it being a private, more owned one versus a quick trip like the first guy brought up. So I won't talk about that a lot. I looked into some of other truck stops, one specifically in Cameron, Missouri that development owns, and have nothing good to say about that. I think someone else is going to speak on that. I also noticed the area is zoned industrial, but that was a long time ago. Have we thought about looking whether or not that should remain zoned M1 or make it residential like it is on the other side? From my limited understanding and checking, KDOT has not completed a recent traffic study and is not even sure if they want to make that an interstate corridor with exit ramps or if they wanted to keep it urban with stoplights. It looks like the rush traffic study we were giving is not really complete, and I'm curious where they got the numbers from, if they got just state-reported crashes, or if they reached out to each individual agency, Spring Hill PD, Olathe PD, KHP, Johnson County Sheriff's Office, since it is an area, Miami County, that serves a lot of different law enforcement. So I'm gonna try to skip 3 minutes. I'm a talker, so I'm trying to go quick because 3 minutes is quick for me. I'm gonna skip forward. So I'm also concerned about whether or not there are tax breaks. I don't know if there are, so that's a question I want answered for the company to get tax breaks. And I want to know whether or not the Travel Plaza would bring down property values in the area since I live right across the street. Also, will there be any regulations on what is being sold in the gas station, specifically like vape products, Delta-8, synthetic cannabinoids, and tianeptine, or gas station heroin is what it's called. The CDC recently recalled tianeptine, which that street name is gas station heroin, which is commonly sold as a health or dietary supplement at a lot of quick, easy gas stations and truck stops. Most of the large corporate gas stations are smart about not selling these dangerous, legal drugs. I deal with this on a daily basis. I just got called out on a dead body. I hope it's not another overdose. We'll find out once I call. Two things are going to determine drug trends and what we're going to see our children using. That's price point and availability. You're putting that in our backyard when it comes to those legal gas station heroin and other drugs. The kids look for what's cheap and what's easy. If they go into a liquor store, they're not trying to get the top shelf whiskey. They're looking for whatever's cheap and easy, hence our vaping epidemic. Children as young as second grade are vaping. I have specific training on this. I can talk more. I sent some of you an email. Really quick, fentanyl is also an epidemic. I have a source I can't talk about, but could more personally, I can't do it in public, about an uptick on car fentanyl, which is different than fentanyl, and it is running in this area.
Ma'am, if
Human trafficking.
you try to wrap it.
Yeah, I have like a lot more I'd like to discuss if somebody could shoot me an email back. Like I said, 13 years in law enforcement. I've worked human trafficking cases. I have a lot of passion about this and would love to discuss this if anyone will reach out if I hear from somebody. If not, I'll just keep emailing you till I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Eric Green, and then on deck, Tom Fauglid.
Hello, Eric Green at 18475 West 183rd Street. Thank you for this. You may want to proofread next time it says the wrong address on there. So let's talk about the light that they will pay for. This is the current state of the traffic study that they provided us, showing that it's dangerous, which I think we all can agree. So knowing this, it's extremely important that we need to get these needed and promised improvements completed before any building permits are awarded. So everything with the intersection, everything with the lights, all has to be done before we issue any building permits. So, but let's take a step back first and review what the impact will be with the new light at the intersection. Per their traffic study, there is a grade card showing the results after the installation of the proposed traffic signal. The grading is similar to what is used that you'll see in schools, as A being the best and F being a fail. E represents at capacity, and again, F is a fail. If you read further into the study, you'll notice that the hotel volume traffic is not accounted for. Also, what will the volume impact be when the Dayton Creek expansion is completed? What will the impact be when the new neighborhood going in at 191st and 169? What about the expansion of Foxwood Ranch? As you can see, again, from their traffic study, at the current load, the overall grade is a D. D, right up there. And will be worse once the current projects are completed. So let me ask, if you have a child and they bring their report card home and it looks like this, would you approve? The city comp plan states that the development should enhance safety and minimize adverse traffic impact around the surrounding area. Does sitting at a stoplight for an estimated 1 minute and 45 seconds per their study sound like a minimal traffic impact? There are several grounds on which this can legally be denied. Article 3 of the city comp plan speaks to the compatibility of the surrounding area. Directly across 183rd Street to the north is 140 acres of R1 residentially zoned property, and there are several other near properties with the same zoning. The easy one, though, is Article 6 of the comp plan, which I already covered, surrounding the massive adverse traffic impact, again, provided by their own traffic study. This truck stop is not compatible. Please, put your community first.
Thank you. Next, we have Tom Fauglid, and then on deck is Marcus Grauerholtz.
Hi, my name is Tom Fauglid, 21400 West 181st Street. I spoke at the last meeting, and so it was nice to get that information from everybody at that and learn how the meetings and everything work. So I appreciate being educated on that and everything. And of course, the paperwork we got tonight is nice to look through as well. One of the things that everybody spoke about a lot of stuff, so I won't reiterate that, but one of the things that I'm worried about is, like I spoke last time, is a lot of our kids, whether they're high school or in a bus or their parents are driving them to and from all the surrounding schools right in that area, and especially that intersection. Without 169 being improved first, or on contingency of them even breaking ground with acceleration, deceleration lanes, that kind of thing, that's going to turn into a nightmare of an intersection with tons of deaths and traffic and just very dangerous. And a lot of the people anybody that's from this side, the west side of 169, has to cross 169 to get to high school and even to middle schools. And that is the part. I have 5 grown-up kids, and I have a bunch of grandchildren, and I've got some grandchildren on their way to, in just a few years, into those schools. And so that's what I'm concerned about. And everybody's kind of pushing it off, and whether it's legalese, but everybody's kind of pushing it off as, well, that's KDOT has to do that. KDOT has to do this. Well, if this isn't put as a contingency to the developer that this stuff has to be in the works and planned, and we have to have a date when KDOT gets 169 done, then you can open, then you can do whatever. I think it's a horrible idea to let this go in at all. Everybody's going to push it down to the next guy. Everybody's going to kick the can and say we can't do this till we do this. But even when I look at their terms here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or to 4. They're talking about, well, we're going to break ground, we're going to build and do this, and then we'll get with the KDOT and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's just pushing the can. And it's not just 169. I have a son that runs a business right there off Webster and 183rd in the office building, warehouse parks there too. And he runs a tree, Tid Tree is his company. And right now as it is, Webster's going to have to be greatly improved for this to go in. And there's nothing in their plans to do anything on Webster itself. That's just a 2-lane road. You've got all the campers, the boats, everything on the weekend in the summer. You've got all the traffic out of all those new businesses right there. And his guys, they're not driving semis, but they're driving large straight trucks, pulling chippers, pulling equipment. They can't hardly get across or even north or south on 169 as it is right now. Very difficult. And that creates a lot of liability and stress and anxiety for the business. So that's things I wanted to talk about. And then thank you for time. And secondly, just to bring everybody together, go Chiefs.
Jeez. Woo! Thank you. Next we have Marcus Grauerholtz, and then on deck, it says Gail Strahan, but she already spoke, so the next person would Jenny and Austin Carl.
Good evening, Marcus Grauerholtz, and bravo to you for getting it close. 21265 West 181st Street. And I'm kind of late to the party. I didn't know about this until very recently. And it kind of makes me wonder why this wasn't put out more to people in that area. Now, I'm sure if I'd have been a Spring Hill resident, I would have known about it. But since you've just moved the city up to 175th Street on the east side, but not the west side, we're a little in the dark out there. We're still in the county. So anyway, as my neighbor just eloquently said, my biggest concern is for our youth. Truck stops are a horrible place for kids. Horrible. Not only, as the officer said, all the stuff that they can buy over the counter that they should never have. It's all the stuff that they can buy in the parking lot from a trucker, off a truck, from who knows who, that is God knows what. If you think you might have a drug problem here now, wait till that baby goes in. You're going to have a nightmare. Number two, all the improvements that have been done down here at 199th and 169 to that intersection are due to kids losing their life at that intersection. I should know. One of my children was in high school. Okay? How many kids are you prepared to lose at 183rd and 69 and 169? How many? Because I guarantee you, I want every one of you at 7:45 in the morning or 5:15 at night to go up. I want you to get across 169 on 183rd. I would love for you to do that. Then go back and turn, if you're going eastbound, I want you to turn and go northbound. If you're westbound, I want you to turn and go southbound. Try that. That's an exercise in futility and danger. And if you're not driving something that's got a motor that you can stomp, you're in trouble. And I don't know how those gentlemen get a truck and a trailer out safely in that environment. Thank you for your time, and I really hope that you put some hard thought into this.
Thank you. Next, we got Jenny and Austin Carl, and then on deck, Dan Broyles.
Jen and Austin Carl, 18255 South Troost. I just want to say that I prayed about this before I got here. Couldn't have had a better opener than that because this is exactly the topic that I am going to discuss. My husband and I, we live off 183rd and Troost. We have 3 girls, and one is a kindergartner at Dayton Creek. And like most of the neighbors, we are opposed to the travel plaza, and I hope that the city reconsiders this potential blight on our community. However, Joe, I'm a realist, and what I have to say to the council is I didn't see any mention of any improvement to the traffic flow at 191st and 169. I have personally seen 2 wrecks there. I was actually behind one with my toddler in a fall morning this year. And so I contacted the city and the school district, and I was informed that there has been 19 wrecks there in 2 years since Dayton Creek has opened. and now you're wanting to put this travel plaza in. I understand tax dollars. I'm a business person. I understand. But what I don't understand is why is there no mention of any improvement? Yes, there's not been any fatalities yet. There's been 19 wrecks, no fatalities. You put that travel plaza in, I guarantee there will be one. It'll be someone in here's brother, sister, cousin. It could be your family. I know somebody in here or on the planning commission lives in Dayton Creek, spoke to them. So I just implore the city to please reconsider this travel plaza. But if you do make this decision, please ask the developer, ask KDOT, do whatever you can in your power to secure safe travel between 191st and 169 for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
On top of the increased traffic, I'm also concerned with the prostitution and the drugs and the trash, as you've seen from multiple accounts. You know, that environment is almost secluded from the city. You know, we are in the county. With that is a hub for human trafficking and prostitution.
Austin also works for the BNSF. He is at the railroad. He is literally around trucks all day long.
I know the emissions. I know
How much noise?
the environmental impact. I know the noise.
The trash.
It's ridiculous.
So just please reconsider it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dan Broyles, and then Alan Ellison is on deck. And I will speak to the 191st thing. I was actually at the state capitol this week again for the third year in a row advocating for a stoplight at 191st and 169. That is something the city has been pushing very hard with KDOT and with a lot of different, going as far up as, I even got somebody from the U.S. State House involved on it. So we're trying to get it up the chain of ladder of command as far as we can to try to get help with that, to try to get a light, because we are very well aware that that is a terrible intersection and it needs a stoplight. So I just wanted to speak on that on 191st Street. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Dan Broyles, 21127 West 186 Terrace. I live at the north end of Dayton Creek there. So I can see that, basically that corner, you know, from where I live, from my front yard. As you imagine, I oppose the travel trucks center here. That's been maybe already approved. I don't, you know, maybe we're speaking to, you know, for nothing, but you can see that we're already very upset about what it's going to look like, a very nasty eyesore in the community. Instead of a nice pretty drive down 169, it's going to be the eyesore that we've seen in pictures tonight. I wasn't sure if there was any consideration given to the fact that this location, the proposed location, is basically a mile from not one but two gentlemen's clubs. And the increase in sex trafficking, human trafficking, prostitution, and drugs is a certainty. And so that alone is, it weighs on me very much. But I thought I'd bring up something else that nobody else has mentioned tonight, and that's I am an astrophotographer, and I came to Spring Hill because I really love darker skies. I need those darker skies to take pictures of very, very faint objects in the sky. And adding that extra light, the travel center is going to be lit up like the Super Bowl every night, every week, every day of every year. And there's nothing I mean, once that's in, that's in. It will brighten up that whole area and make it very difficult for me to take pictures and for people to enjoy the night sky, which is a fading and vanishing resource. Light pollution it encroaches further and further, and it has detrimental health effects that we're only just now learning to know more and more about. It increases problems with cancer, with health, with heart disease and obesity, as well as mental illness, depression, and chronic pain. My wife suffers from chronic pain, and with all the other health things that we've talked about, extra light, extra pollution, extra noise, I'm deeply concerned that this might not be a community that we could stay in. Anyway, I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Alan Ellison, and then Amy and Caleb Wells on deck.
I'm Alan Ellison, 20909 West 189th Street in Dayton Creek. And I just want you guys to maybe take a look at, I own a company, I'm required to have CDLs. We have a 27-minute video on sex trafficking that we have to watch before we get a CDL. I would highly suggest that you guys look at that. It enlightened a lot of things for me that I didn't even know about. Just watch it, download it, watch it, and then try to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Amy and Caleb Wells, and then Cindy Wempe on deck.
Hi, Amy and Caleb Wells, 18659 Deer Run. It's in Dayton Creek subdivision. I'm just going to speak to you from my heart as a mom, as a community member, somebody who works in the schools, and hopefully you just can understand our opposition for this. The decision to live here came from a multitude of factors. Friends who already called this place home, the reputation of excellent schools, and the undeniable feeling that this was the perfect place to start our family. So we did that, in fact. We bought a home. We started a family. We have 2 wonderful girls that go to dance not far from where this is expected to go in, and I have concerns for that. I have 2 girls that go to school not far from here. They're going to be crossing already a difficult highway to drive to the middle school, the high school. It's concerning to me for their safety. When the opportunity arose, we built our dream home within this community, and we took it. However, this proposed truck plaza presents some concerns. Concerns about increased truck traffic, concern about air pollution. My daughter has asthma, pretty severe asthma, and concerns about the safety and well-being of our family, of all these families. We cannot overlook the effects that such a development may bring, casting doubt upon the very reasons that we chose Spring Hill to call home. I hope that we can come together. I am not opposed to growth. I am not opposed to businesses. I am opposed to this simply because of the concerns and all these things that I've said, all these things that these people have said. Please reconsider. Let's seek solutions and growth that honor all the things that we hold dear and uphold the vision I believe many, like myself, share for the future that we hope Spring Hill will hold. Otherwise, we may have to look for a different home, and that makes me sad. Thank you.
Next, we have Cindy Wempe, and then on deck, Seema Karova.
Cindy Wimpy, 21900 West 178th Terrace. I see why there's cookies out there tonight. You guys are going to have a long night. I've sat where you've sat before, and I wish that we, in the time that I sat on the city council, had this much people come and say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want. I mean, you've sat here long enough to know when it comes to budget time, there's nobody in the audience. These people have real concerns. They have a real love for their community. They built their families here. We all live here in this area because we love Spring Hill. You know, to see Spring Hill on the news and say, yeah, you know, the truck stop out there, or did you hear the human trafficking? I don't want to see that for my community either. I agree with what these people say here. I guess I had more questions than I actually had anything that you heard tonight or the other night. I think your people of your community have spoken. I don't think it's a hard decision tonight. If you have to put it off 10 more times till you get these answers, KDOT has to come to the table. I just can't believe that you would make a decision without some of these important things. But even after you have these answers, you still have a whole community that don't want this. Thank you for your time. Good luck.
Thank you. Next, we have Seema Karova.
Hi, my name's Seema Karova. I'm at 21425 West 180th Street. I didn't learn about this until recently, and I'm a mother of 3. I am also a small business owner. Also, my family, we have beekeeping. And I bring that up only to the fact that it was something that we really had to consider our location. See, with bees, of course, you have the issue where you put your hives, there's a risk for your bees, and there's also a risk for the people around them. And me as a person, I have to take that into consideration. Location is very important. And I think for everyone, that's what we're kind of talking about. We're not opposed to people trying to make a profit and trying to make themselves a business. We understand truckers are important, but there's also an importance to people's safety. And that becomes first and priority, obviously. We are opposed. I'm opposed as well. One of the issues, I think, is it comes back to scripture. I'm so thankful that you guys started off with a prayer. But I would like to just quote a scripture for you. It says, everything is permissible, but not everything is helpful. It might be permissible by law, but is it helpful for the people of your community, not for a business? Businesses can find other places. I have to find other places for my hives, right? And that is helpful. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up. And I don't hear the voices of the people saying this is building them up. In fact, it's all only causing anxiety and fear. And Ms. Feedback, you understand that as well. We're talking about homelessness and trafficking and all of the issues that are already so important to many of us. We want to be helpful. I hope that you guys can hear this. Even though law allows certain things, is it the true letter of the law that we're looking at or the spirit of the law, right? If decisions have been made, I don't know how much have been made because it feels like they've already been made for us, which also feels heartbreaking and loses trust. It makes people want to go. If no one's fighting for us, why would we continue to fight? That's why you have a room full here. We're trying to stand up. And we want you guys to hear our voices. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate you guys, and we pray that you guys will make the right decision for us.
Thank you. That's the end of the people that we have signed up here. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to step up and speak? If not, we'll go ahead and close the citizen participation. Yes, sir. If you could just state your name and your address.
Bill McDonald, 18712 Deer Run in Dayton Creek. After listening to this and a couple of my neighbors, I just heard about this like a week ago. I moved here from Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we bought a house in Dayton Creek, moved in July. And I'll just be honest with you. If I knew that this was going to happen near Dayton Creek, I wouldn't have moved to this city. So I think if you look at that, you may be turning off people moving into this wonderful city. And that's why we looked for 3 years to come back from Michigan to here. We picked Spring Hill because we knew that this was a great community. But man, I'm just telling you, I would have never, ever moved here if I knew that a truck stop was going to go in a mile from my house. That's insane. And to be quite frank, I can't figure out why they call it a truck stop. How far are you from I-35? That's not a freaking truck stop. And then there's a truck stop right down the street in Edgerton. So how many do you need? And I'm just telling you, I hope you don't vote for this because you will turn off people coming to this city. And I don't want to put the blame, point fingers, but it's going to be the council that's going to be to blame. And again, I would have never moved here if I knew this was going to happen. So I hope to heaven that you guys vote against this. Please. I mean, you want the city to grow. And you got great schools. We don't have any kids anymore, going to school here, but I heard nothing but good things about the school system. You don't want to destroy that. And I think this might. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Anyone else?
May I have 2 seconds for one thing I didn't get to say a while ago?
No, sorry, sir. No, sorry. We can only allow you 3 minutes, but there's someone else out there that might.
Hi, Nikki Ellison, 20909 189th Street, Dayton Creek.
Can you say your name again?
Nikki, Nikki Ellison. That's my hunka burning love back there.
What was your address?
20909 West 189th Street,
Okay, thank you.
Dayton Creek.
Thank you.
So I have to be a little bit careful here because I can't speak to a lot of things I would really like to speak about. I can tell you, we moved from Omaha 4 years ago down here. We looked all over this community. 30 years ago, I lived in North Kansas City. We looked all over the south area and settled on Spring Hill because of all these people. The neighbors, your neighbors. But I wanted to talk to you really quick about a job I had before I moved down here. I was the head of human resources, chief human resource officer for a international trucking company. At that time, they were in 3 countries, Canada, US, Mexico. They've now expanded and are doing intermodal. My job, I used to joke, was clean up on aisle 5. That was the only way I could swallow the things I handled at work, was to joke about it and call it clean up on aisle 5. And I want you to know that I worked for a very, very good trucking company. Good owners, good people, good intentions, and some of the best drivers in the nation. But let me tell you what we handled. Clean up on aisle 5. Those are the things that kept me up at night. Those are the things that haunted me in my dreams. Those are the things that brought me home to my husband and said, "You're not going to believe what we had to deal with today." And I heard it at truck stops all across the nation. And it became very clear very quickly that there are some nice truck stops. Sapp Brothers folks run, speaking of prayers at the beginning, Sapp Brothers run some nice truck stops. They keep them clean, they keep them safe. There are clean, safe ones out there. There are good drivers. But there's a whole lot of stuff that will make your nights hell. And to the point of this is on your conscience, I feel bad for you guys. There are 5 people sitting here that are about to vote on something that is going to change the trajectory of your lives. And if you don't believe me, I wish I could talk to you about some of the cases that I handled in my role. And all I will tell you is clean up on aisle 5 is not a job you want to have as a parent. Because you go home and you look at your own kid. And I'll just stop there.
Thank you.
More power to you.
Anyone else that hasn't got a chance to speak yet? One more.
Hi. I did not plan.
If you could state your name and your address.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Anna Peters. My address is 20913 189th Street.
Thank you.
We, you can literally see where this truck stop is going to be from my front yard.
You got this, girl.
We moved here because we have a medically fragile son. We came from Lewisburg. They had no resources for him in their school district. So we came here for the school district. We spent all of our savings to build this house, to give him what he deserves. And just to give you a little background, he has a trach and a G-tube. He's been in the hospital more than he's been out of the hospital. The fumes that are gonna come from this building, he might not recover from it, and we can't afford to move. So please, I know all of you have children. What would you do? What would you do? We can't afford to move after this. So I didn't plan to speak. I don't have anything prepared, but we also have 2 other little boys, and what would you do? I just would really like to know that.
I'm just, sorry, my name's Britton Conway, 17751 South Roundtree Drive. I'm actually on the Olathe side, but my kids go to Dayton Creek. My oldest is in 1st grade, and I have 2 others coming up through Dayton Creek who will be having to drive and go right through there. We moved here for the same reason everyone in this room has moved here. To be in a little of a safer place and to have our beautiful surroundings. And I didn't even know about this until a couple weeks ago, and now that can just all be taken away in an instant. Again, we didn't have plans to talk, but hearing everyone, I'm curious why this couldn't be put into a ballot and allowed to be voted on, because you can clearly see no one wants this. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll go ahead and close citizen participation at this time and move on to formal council action. No, I'm sorry, close citizen participation and move on to the consent agenda. These are items that the staff considers to be routine maintenance, but are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Next, we'll move on to formal council action. The first item on the agenda is consider approval of site plan application plat 000139-2023 Spring Hill Travel Plaza. Kimley Horn and Mr. Burton, you have the floor.
Good evening, thank you. This item was tabled and continued to this meeting. You've received the information regarding the improvements at the intersection of 169 and 183rd. And really, if there are any additional questions, comments, the developer's representative is here.
Would somebody be willing to read that they sent over because I don't think we had enough. Everyone in the audience might not have got a copy of that. Would one of the staff be willing to read that?
We don't have.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what we do. So I can summarize it a little bit. There is that and I have Curtis.
And we do have it on our website, and there were copies available here. I just want the audience,
Yes.
and people online to be able to hear.
Summarize that any improvements there that are drawn up, and they drew up widening of turn lanes, signalization, and the developer will be responsible for that as a summary on it.
And they'll pay for it.
That is correct. And through the KDOT approval process.
It won't come out of city funds.
That is correct. And I would let Curtis Holland speak on that if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd like. You want to speak on that? Would you address that point, Curtis, please?
Yes, Curtis Holland. I'm an attorney representing the proposed developer of the Travel Plaza, and I submitted the letter. It has a little typo that found tonight, and one of the residents pointed it out.
And it's up here on your screen.
Tried to fix that before I came over, and anyway, my computer operator error. But regardless, the point of this letter is we have a traffic impact study that was submitted. It was prepared by Kimley Horn. I have Patrick Joyce with Kimley Horn here, an engineer, and their firm prepared the traffic impact study and was submitted to the city. And in the traffic impact study, there are a lot of information. One of the earlier speakers spoke to portions of it, but there's a lot of information in there. But in the bottom line is that the study found that with this travel plaza and the anticipated traffic that would be generated from the travel plaza, which isn't just a truck stop, it's got retail facilities, restaurants, and so forth also planned there, but the cumulative generation of traffic at the facility would require some improvements to be made when the facility is opened. And so this letter, and we understand that the improvements are on the developer to undertake and build, that these traffic improvements must be done when we open the business. You can't have a business operating without these improvements being made with it. So there's no intention to open up a truck stop without having these improvements already in place and with it. We would be building them at the same time, and the letter indicates that we would accept as a condition of approval that these improvements be made and that they are the obligation of the developer to make those improvements. I know there's concern about the traffic in the area and the safety of the area. These improvements are intended to improve those conditions substantially. So the letter again would represent that on behalf of the developer that we would make these improvements as listed in the traffic improvement plan or study. And there's a plan that was attached to the letter, and you can put it up there if you'd like. I'm not going to speak to the actual improvements that are proposed. I have Patrick Joyce if you have any questions about that, but I mean, just in quick summary, it does include extra turn lanes, storage lanes, traffic signals, and the like that are required to be installed, as you can see on the screen, both along 183rd Street going east-west and along 169 Highway going to the south. So those improvements are detailed in the traffic improvement study. And again, per our letter, we would commit to having all those improvements be installed and paid for by the developer at the time and before, really at the time it opens. You can't open the facility without it. So that's what that letter would say. So
The one question I had, just to confirm, is the west side of 183rd, you guys are including that also?
yes, everything you see, the dark gray.
Anything that's dark, okay.
Everything that's darker gray up there would be ours to build.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with KDOT, you've had conversations with KDOT. We've had some conversations with KDOT. It's going to be hard to move forward. We have to have a plan approved before they even take us seriously.
Yeah, they won't do anything without a site plan.
Yeah, they won't do anything. So this is sort of the first step in terms of getting it. If we can't get these things, if we can't get approval from KDOT, this thing goes away.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And I just to remind everybody, and I know it's challenging and hard to understand exactly, why here and in our view of it, it's zoned appropriately. This is a land use that's permitted by right under your zoning laws and is in compliance with your ordinances with regards to the site plan. It's an industrial park. It's zoned industrial. It's on the future master plan as industrial. It's been like that well before Dayton Creek was even thought of. It's hard to understand from their side.
Hey guys, if you guys in the audience could please be respectful.
I was just trying to give an explanation for why we presented it at this location. There's a lot of existing truck traffic and vehicular traffic that go up and down 169 Highway already. This is to capture a lot of the existing traffic that's there. And so, I mean, it's not too dissimilar to a facility that would be like a distribution facility that would have lots of trucks at it. And if you go up the street to 165th Street, they're building right now a Walmart distribution facility. If you look at 175th and Hedge Lane, there is a 1 million square foot distribution facility right across the street from Nottington Creek that will have 200 trucks parked there and idling overnight. Just north of it, you have a Coca-Cola distribution facility being developed right now with lots of trucks. So, the impacts that we hear about trucking and then the pollution and so on and so forth, I understand there's concerns about it. This is going to be one of those travel plaza that is kept orderly and nice. It's a corporate flagged facility. We can't tell you who that is right now, but we're in negotiations and have agreements with those folks. And so I think hopefully everybody will understand and realize when we're done here and see how we operate it, that it's not all of this that we're hearing tonight. So anyway.
Thank you. Mr. Burton, did you have more to add?
Yes, as Mr. Holland had spoke, I keep calling him Curtis, I apologize. As Mr. Holland had spoke, that was in the original comp plan, you know, and it's, the comp plan's been looked at and revised a few times since the 2005. And then this is probably a shameless plug, you know, we are doing the comp plan right now. And we would welcome input on that from everyone. You know, we've gone through the numbers before, and the participation numbers by the general public have been very weak.
Yeah, out of about, we're approximately 10,000 people in Spring Hill, and we're averaging about 250 people getting involved in the
And
comp
that's
plan.
it.
So
That's
that's
it.
a
So-
very small percentage compared to the size of the city we have.
That's
So we'd love for everybody that wants to get
Yes, we
involved.
do, and that is an area where that you can get involved and be able to shape your city's future, because it is a future land use plan, and that's how we look at it. So
And that's how this was planned.
that's correct. Way
15
back
years
in-
ago.
Yes, that is correct.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I know we've heard from a lot of people from Dayton Creek. Has anybody spoken to the developer at Dayton Creek? to
I
see what they
did.
think?
I reached out to, matter of fact, I reached out to the developer and he did call me back, PV Investments. And they, and gave me permission to say this, that they have no problem with the development. It is, and I can, we can call the developer at any time.
Pat, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Will the site be completed as we see it at once, or will these additional pad sites be included over time?
Over time, they will be built on.
They'll be added on?
Yes,
So first
and
there'll be a season.
so there will be a separate site plan for each one of those pad sites, but it will come in also as the overall plan. So where those pad sites, an example may be, let's look in just one of the pad sites. That building frame may have to be expanded a little bit depending on whatever use is that. But the overall plan, that's what it is. That's what and each pad site will come before this body with a site plan.
And examples for those things could be, you know, Taco Bell,
Sure,
McDonald's,
exactly.
coffee shop,
You bet.
hair salon.
And you
a lot
can
of
see,
different options.
yes, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. It's showing drive-throughs and things like that. And with each one of those, we will have an impact study, traffic impact. A perfect example is they may have to widen one of the entrances due to that. There may have to be in the future improvements made to Webster.
That's another question I had on Webster. Is there any way we can prevent trucks from pulling off? I live on the other side of the current industrial park, North Street.
Yes,
And
that's correct.
it's frequently, there'll be cars, semis backed up. Trying to
Onto,
turn in, on 207th, trying to turn in. Is there anything we can do on Webster to prevent that?
where they just sit and idle, you
They're
mean?
sitting waiting.
Right, so what we'll do is we will take all this to the Traffic Safety Committee. And then the Traffic Safety Committee, in conjunction with our traffic engineer, and we will look at that and possibly it will come back, I'll just use an example, that it may come back and ask that the governing body make that a no parking street. Also, we'll be looking at, through the Traffic Safety Committee, we'll be looking at the speed limits on those streets. and-
Signage,
Signage,
no trucks
exactly.
going east.
Cross,
Yeah.
exactly.
Eastbound.
Yeah.
What about for the area, surrounding area? I know county, we can't really do much, but for all the city areas, can we say no street parking?
Yes, and
Or
that's,
so- now that we specifically have somewhere, if we would have somewhere for them to park. if it's-
right, and that's what we would, and that's what I was intending to say. We will look at the entire community We have contacted Quick Trip and said, because it is, how they park at the end of their private street up there. And we're talking with Quick Trip on that, so Lincoln.
And just to reiterate, sorry to interrupt you, but
You're fine.
that drive in front of Quick Trip, I've had a lot of people comment on trucks parking there. That is not a city street there. That is a private drive, so we don't have jurisdiction over that street as far as telling trucks they can or cannot park there.
That is correct, yes. And so we will look, the Traffic Safety Committee will be looking at the entire community.
Pat, is that Traffic Safety Committee, that's an internal group that we have here within Spring Hill?
Yes, internal staff as well as the consulting engineer for traffic and the consulting engineer for just our engineering, infrastructure engineering. And it's time for and they'll probably love me for this, saying this, but it really is time for the Traffic Safety Committee to go ahead and just look over the entire community for speed limits and additional signage. I know last year we had to replace some signs that didn't meet the new standard. So it's really time for us to go back in there and take a look at that.
And I've had
I-
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
I've had a few citizens request some additional speed limit signs out near Wolf Creek School and the high school, and so I have requested that, and
Okay.
hopefully that's something we can move forward with. So we have had requests like that would go through the traffic safety committee, and
Yes, and one of the reasons that, just real quick, it needs to go through the Traffic Safety Committee, it needs to be evaluated. Let's say that we just go out and put a sign in the wrong place and something happens, and then it doesn't meet those standards and all that. It needs to go through the committee.
I had
Yes, ma'am.
something on the no truck signs.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, so is that something that they're gonna look at too? Cause I'm just kinda concerned, and I know, I'm still
Right.
trying to figure out that some of the roads are county, some of them are city, so
Mm-hmm. Yes.
when it comes to enforcement, that's
Right.
a
So-
whole nother situation, but is that gonna be looked at too? 'Cause I
Yes,
think a lot of people are frustrated with the trucks. I mean, I had one almost take out the side of my car on 191st Street when I was waiting there at the, at the railroad tracks the other day.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we will, and have already looked at traffic from this side, I'll use this side since we're talking about it, going east.
Okay.
And it is county jurisdiction. I know that Mr. Massey and I have spoke about it and we'll be speaking to the county on trying to get some, not cooperation, but working together on seeing what, the other thing is also, seeing what we can do with truck traffic and where. The other thing is, the comp plan's not just for zoning and future, it's also, it goes into thoroughfare traffic. Where do we want the traffic? What's gonna be our cross east and west? What's gonna be our cross east and west road? We're trying to make 169 the heavy traffic north-south. But what are our crossroads? And that also falls in conjunction with the alternative transportation, bike trails, walking, getting from one park to the other park and all. We met today but how that all falls together is I'm putting in another plug to come talk to us about the comp plan, join in on it. Because right now we are in the planning for future land use plan. That's where we're at right now. And it's.
we've had it out on the website, we've had it out on Facebook, we've
signs
had it out
all
on
over.
all the social media platforms for about the last 6 months to a year, and we've had it at every single meeting.
Yes.
We have QR codes throughout the town, we have them on the sidewalks, we have them downtown, QR cards that you can
Newsletter.
scan on
Newsletter
it's on the
every time.
newsletter, it's on the bottom. It's on the bottom of your water bill. If you get a water bill from the city, it's on the bottom of the water bill. So we have put it out there as many places as we can put out there. We had a committee at Fall Festival that was plugging it. So we do try to make it, because we do want, contrary to popular belief, we do want the community involved. We do want you
Yes.
guys to help us figure out where you want to grow, where you want things.
And-
But we got to have involvement.
And it is your community, and staff, we have to have the resources to do this, and the comp plan is the community development's resource. So back to this plan, I apologize for that, but I thought it'd be a really good opportunity to try and get people involved in that.
Questions or comments?
Yeah.
Governing body?
Go ahead.
This might be a question for Spencer. Can we ask the lighting, the lights that go with this, is that something we can discuss? How, what the.
Sure, the lighting.
One dimensional, what we're looking at here is one dimensional, right?
That's
It's hard
correct.
to see.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just try to get a visual. from
Right,
that.
so what happens is, if this plan is approved, then we ask for a photometrics.
Okay. It has to be approved.
Well, there's no reason to do a photometrics if not.
Okay.
You see, I'm sorry, a photometrics, and what that is it takes a look at, just like what we would do with the schools and all for their stadium lights, and it tries to, you can only project so much lighting onto another property. Also, along 169, we're very cognizant and talk to the state a lot about glare. You can have a bright light that doesn't glare, where you have let's say a wall pack just sits on the wall. Those are out. We can't allow that. So we'll have a photometrics on that. It's same with just a regular subdivision. After it's approved, we go in and figure out where these street lights go.
Any other questions or comments?
I got a quick one, and this is for Mr. Holland. Within the letter, it also notes about any subsequent revisions required for approval through KDOT. You guys are aware that KDOT could come back and say that the traffic study is not effective enough. Like, they could say that you need something above and beyond what's in the traffic study.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that they have to look at it, and they might want to tweak the improvements, and so that was sort of capture that process.
They might want to tweak it, or they might want to significantly increase it.
Yeah, well, it depends on what it is that they want to do. I mean, obviously, the point of that letter is it has to have KDOT approval for us to move forward, and if they may not just accept our traffic report exactly as it's written, or the improvements plan exactly as we're presenting it. So that was trying to capture if there's any changes that come from
Essentially, what I'm
KDOT.
getting at is that's still a pretty big variable, what KDOT says has to go there.
Well, 100%, it's whatever KDOT says, it has to be approved.
And also coming along with that is you're kind of at KDOT's mercy.
Yep.
As far as what they say has to go there and the timeline that they operate on.
Yep, yeah, we understand that.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments, questions?
I do, Spencer. I was gonna ask you to come forward. Can you explain, so there's gonna be a vote tonight. Can you kind of go and explain like what exactly the city council's voting on? And explain some of those indicators, please, the 8 that we look at when we're doing a vote. Thank you.
So what you're voting on tonight is the site plan, so that is essentially what you're looking at on the screen here. It is an internally looking, what does this piece of land look like with the structures that are proposed there, and how is it organized, is it the right way? So I need to pull up your city code, so if you'll humor me for 30 seconds, I'll find that and read them off to you.
And I know you did this last time, but some people were not a part of the meeting, so.
And going back to address a little bit more, Mr. Peel, yes, the city is also at KDOT's mercy on this as far as, but the other good side of it is another whole set of eyes and all that take a look at this and start getting some improvements on 169. And a lot of people, they may not know, but if you hear it called the K7 corridor, it is K7 corridor or 169. Just for general knowledge information. So
Thank you for eating up the time, I appreciate it.
sit there often.
Yeah, well, wouldn't be a first for me. Standards of review for site plans. So, for the record, anyone that's curious, our city code, chapter 17 or section 17 is entirely related to planning and zoning. That's accessible on our city website. So within that, there's a lot of sections. The PDF is 241 pages long. But in section 17.340, that's where we talk about site plan approval. And within that, subsection D is the standards of review for you all as the governing body. There's 8 of those. That's the extent to which the proposal conforms to the provisions of this code, which is the zoning code, and subdivision regulations. The extent to which the proposal conforms to the subdivision regulations. There we go, I jumped ahead of myself. Number 3, the extent to which it would be compatible with the surrounding area. Number 4, the proposal is conforming to the comprehensive plan, including vision plan, development recommendations, planning principles, and design guidelines. Number 5, the extent to which the proposal conforms to customary engineering standards as used in the city. So again, we're really looking at the buildings that are proposed to be put in here. Number 6, the extent to which the locations of streets, pathways, walkways, driveways are located. We're talking about within this actual site plan itself, not the whole city. So as to enhance safety and minimize adverse traffic impact on that surrounding area. 7 is the extent to which building structures, walkways, roads, driveways, any open space and parking lots have been located to achieve the following 6 objectives. So preserving our off-site views, conserving natural resources, minimizing flood impact, ensuring that proposed structures are located on suitable soils for them to be built on. Luckily, we don't have quicksand here. Minimizing adverse environmental impact, minimizing past or present future costs to the city, and providing utility providers with adequate utility access, so getting to any of those power lines going in and out, water, wastewater, all of that. And then the last one is number 8, all structures should be required to have permanent or continuous footings and or foundations. So again, focusing on this site plan, making sure we're putting in good buildings that are gonna last and not crumble down.
So from an attorney point of view, does the site plan meet it? I'm not asking you
Yeah.
to vote on it. I'm
Right.
just saying from a legal point of view, because you're an attorney, does that meet all of it?
Sure, and I'm going to tell something you're going to rarely hear an attorney say, which is that I'm not going to make a comment on that, even though I love talking. The decision on whether it meets those is up to you all and your professional staff, and ethically, it's not the attorney's role to kind of tell you whether or not it meets that. I wish I could go further, but that's sort of the line that in the sand for us as attorneys on that. The same, I can't tell you whether or not a rezoning meets the rezoning criteria in those other sections.
And as you probably heard, some of those items, foundation and footing, obviously that's up to the building department on inspections and that type of process as well. So it's an ongoing process always.
Any other questions or comments?
My only comment is, if this was a rezoning, it'd probably be different for me. It's already zoned this way and it seems to fit the criteria for me. That's where it becomes a little bit harder to say no to something like this. Especially with the letter that we received saying, hey, we're not gonna move forward unless we get the improvements to the highway. To me, I don't see a real good reason why we say no, in the sense of it's already zoned that way, and that's what kind of we've planned to have, this type of industry there. So that'd just be the only comment I have.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Burton. Thank you, Mr. Burton.
I will second what Chad stated. I also feel like some additional things that we will do leading up to this would be doing a thorough review of our codes and how, what changes we need to make there. There's going to be time to do that. So, and we've talked about that, and that's kind of one of those things that gets put on the back burner when everything's busy. But I think this kind of lights a fire for us to get that accomplished and see what changes we need to make in order to help this facility as much as possible. I also feel like another one of those kind of issues that's been kind of bubbling for us for year and a half-ish is the trucks on rural roads and county roads. And we've seen other organizations around us take some action, which has been really good and helpful and steps in the right direction. We know that our turn is coming with that also, and I think this pushes us further towards that, so.
And I think we'd all, not to interrupt you, but I think we'd all up here like to see trucks staying on the highway.
Yeah, so
I think that's unanimous up here.
I also feel strongly that we will be, and I will be pushing for a comprehensive, per se, I guess, comprehensive truck route plan. And with the primary objective being keep the trucks on the highway. And some sections of roads will become no truck routes. Some full roads might become truck routes. Like, I don't know what the outcome of that is yet, but we will build and put together a plan for that and a timeline for implementing that. You know, just for the obvious ones of like for this facility, like trucks do not need to go any farther east past the concrete plant on 183rd. Like, there's just no reason. So, I mean, that's a big, easy, obvious one. So if we need to identify those things and put a plan in place to get that established. So I do feel confident that our staff will do that. I do feel confident that our law enforcement agencies, primarily our own, but also the other ones around it, will be, helpful with this facility and alleviating some of the problems that have been brought up or suggested. So yeah, those are my comments.
I do know our law enforcement and our chief has studied this a lot and gone around and talked to a lot of other agencies around, other truck stops to get a lot of information. I know she highlighted a lot of that last time around. Chief, did you have anything to add to this on top of last meeting? Not to put you on the spot, but if there was anything more that you.
No, I don't have anything to add, but if this comes to fruition at some point, we would work closely with the company on crime prevention, features, things like that, to help alleviate or reduce the likelihood of some of the things that have been brought forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my statement would just be, this is.
Hey, guys, we can't hear people up here. Please be respectful.
Within maybe outside of the site plan, but this is gonna make 169 better, safer there. It's F right now, I think. You can only go up, and the traffic light being there, the turning lanes are already a problem turning onto 183rd. So I see this as a benefit, and we have it in writing. The developer acknowledges that the traffic improvement shall be completed at the time of construction of the travel plaza and or before receiving a certificate of occupancy for convenience store and operation of the travel plaza area for vehicles and trucks. Those are my thoughts.
I do want to speak to a little bit. I want to thank all you guys for coming out here, and thank you for all the emails that we had. Tons of emails. I know some of us responded to those emails. I tried to respond to everyone I got. They might not have been in-depth responses, but I at least wanted to let everyone know that I got your email. I did read every single one, every single word. So I appreciate you guys coming and being involved and caring about your community. Any other questions or comments? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve site plan SP-000139-2023 for Travel Plaza located at 183rd and 169 Highway.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
To move. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Have a good night, everybody.
Let's go from an F to a D. Good thinking. Okay, Doc.